knowing your customer and presentations. This morning we will discuss two presentations for KYC, for knowing your customer, and then one big presentation courtesy of our manager DJ. It's his presentation, and we hope that it will be used by you also in your presentations. Okay, wait, let me just share my screen. Ayan, welcome again. And as you would know, and as you would have observed naman, the Rookie Academy is a series. So, unti-unti yan, we will try to cover all bases before and equip you with everything that we know before sending you out. Although I know naman that most of you or all of you are already seeing prospects doing the activities. This is just to add to your knowledge, to add to your skills, and of course to practice, so that we will be able to perform it perfectly, or at the very least at the best of our abilities when we are already facing our clients. So, di ba, we began with prospecting. As we began the sales process, we began with prospecting, so that meron naman tayong tatawagan, which was a topic last week, approaching. And last week we also delved into what prevents us from calling or approaching our prospects. So I hope that in the week that has passed, nalampasan na natin yun, or kumbaga we have started to find ways para malampasan yun at hindi na tayo maapektuhan. And to also ingrain in our minds na our clients, they need us. So wag po tayong mahiya na nalapitan sila and to offer. What we are offering is something that they need and will be of benefit to them and their families. And so from approaching, now what will happen is, nakapag-approach na kayo, nakapag-set na kayo ng appointments, nalampasan niyo na yung mga objections ng inyong mga kliyente. Now we will go to KYC and presentation. This is the face-to-face meeting. In this case, face-to-face means our Zoom meetings or Skype meetings or video calls. Okay. So, sige. Of course, the first part of our training for this morning is knowing your customer. And ayan. Back in 2012, when I was attending my own training, onboarding training, dati, ano pa ba yun? Ano nga yung name nung, ganda nakatagal, nakalimutan ko na. Hindi pa Edge yung pangalan.
Fast Start yata.
Ayun, Fast Start. So di ba, kaya nag-Fast Start namin, yun yung series para sa salesmanship. And part of back then, Apple Magno Almario, dati Apple Magno pa lang, was part of the Film Life training team. And for all 3 days of Fast Start, siya yung trainer namin. And for KYC, for knowing your customer, she said this to us. In our first meeting with our clients, our goal is to uncover meaningful information about our prospects. Hindi po tayo benta agad. The essential thing is for us to get to know them and what their needs are. And to supplement this, yan, siguro naman po yung nakikilala nyo ang nasa picture. She's one of us, and sabi nga namin sa mga leaders, she's the mother of dragons here in Starbright, the leader of North Star unit, Miss Nina Anover. And back in 2013, diba, she was espousing this to us already. Just some thoughts to ponder and note as we go and proceed with this training. Sabi ni Miss Nina, when doing KYC or meeting your customers, your clients na we are going to sell to and present to, we need to be in control of the venue. If we want to be able to get meaningful information well, kailangan tayo, it starts with us. Be in control of the venue. Now, itong mga advice na to, itong best practices na ito, came at a time na pwede pang mag face-to-face. But, so, that means just being early, choosing the right corner or table if you are meeting in a cafe, yung tamang magandang lighting, for example, and of course being punctual, being early. Ngayon, in the Zoom atmosphere, in the Zoom ngayong Zoom na ang ginagamit natin, pinaka-importante dito is of course be punctual. If you can open the Zoom venue 15 minutes early, kahit na kayo po ay naghihintay, okay lang na maghintay. For the client, better na kayo po yung unang-una dun sa Zoom meeting kaysa naunahan pa po kayo ng kliyente, especially since the Zoom meeting is coming from us. And then, and of course, by being in control of the venue sa Zoom, ayan, if in your house, in your home, you have a nice looking place to serve as your background, edi maganda. If hindi naman possible to do that in your house, kung masikip or busy because everyone is in the home, use a professional looking background. That's why we also provided the pictures of the office to all of you. Nandun po sa ating Facebook group so that you can also use that for your backgrounds para professional, and you can tell your clients that's how our office looks like. So number one is be in control of the venue and doing KYC. I tell you this, and I would like to remind you of this from Miss Nina, because impressions last talaga when it comes to KYC. Especially for clients who have been referred to us, for clients na and referred to us by our families dun sa mga ginawa nating prospecting client. So be in control of the venue. At the very least, please be punctual. 15 minutes early. 15 minutes before the call time is actually for us should be on time pa lang. Yan, be 15 minutes early at the very least. Next is set the attitude, and yan, sabi ko nga, create great impressions. How do you do this? By being early, by being optimistic. So we advise you that to keep things light lang. Remember that our business is a business of trust. So people buy from us not because of the greatness of the product, but because they trust us and they trust the company, and they trust that what we are offering them is something that will be beneficial to them. And to be able to set that attitude, to set that great impression, nagsisimula rin yan din syempre sa atin. We need to believe that, we need to believe and know in our hearts that what we are offering is something good, and that is something that will be beneficial for them, not for us. Sabi nga natin, di ba, lagi, if it will help, you can recite our mantra, one of our mantras, no, before the appointment, to be there, to prioritize the mission before the commission. So let us be there with the thought that we want to serve the client or the prospect. The third is, of course, break the ice and build rapport. That's why we need to keep it light and to set the attitude. If this is a family member or a friend, of course, medyo mas madali na to. But of course, try to find things in common and try to find things that will help lighten the mood and also lighten the atmosphere for the client. Next is to explain the agenda. So our clients respond better, or people respond better, if they know what they are going to expect during the meeting. So tell them outright what's going to be happening. And diba, let's be frank with them and tell them that it's going to be about financial planning. Na sinabi naman natin during the approach. But explain what will happen during the 15 to 30 minutes that you are going to talk. Next is invest in some stuff. Medyo general, but in this case, yung stuff kasi when Miss Nina was sharing this means invest in nice clothes. Nice clothes. If you are, for men, sabi nila, invest in a nice watch. For women, jewelry would work. Ayan, earrings. Invest in some stuff that will help us project a professional attitude and a professional atmosphere. Later on, ang isang sample kasi ni Miss Nina before was that mas maganda naman if you arrive in a nice car. Kasi lalo na kung ang kliyente mo ay VIP, para naman ma-impress din sila. But at the very least, since may Grab din naman, invest in clothing, in accessories that will also uplift you and your reputation to the client. In this case of pandemic, invest in some stuff could mean get your own Zoom account. I heard recently na kahit yung one-on-one na Zoom chat timed na ng 40 minutes. So dati kasi pang group lang yun eh. So now mga kapatid sa Starbright, I encourage all of you to also invest in your own Zoom account. Para naman, that's also something that we can show to the client. 6, during KYC, the spotlight should always be on the prospect. The spotlight should be on the prospect. If in the approaching, sige nga, sa mga umattend last week, ano ang rule on approaching? Pag 80-20, ano yung kaninong 80%? Can you type in the chat box if you remember? May clue na, ang laking clue. Yan, sabi ni Israel sa FA. The FA speaks 80% of the time. The client only speaks 20% of the time during approaching. What we want them to say lang is yes or no to the appointment that we are trying to set. But in KYC and presentation, in KYC and presentation, babaliktad po yun. The 80% of the talking should be coming from the client already, and 20% lang galing sa atin. Just allow them to talk, to share their stories, and to express what they want. Our duty is this, to listen. 80% of the time during KYC, we are listening to the client, their needs, their stories, yung mga pain points nila, kung meron silang mga hinaing or mga pangailangan na hindi na natutupad, kaya rin naman tayo minute. 80% of the spotlight should be on the client. 80% of the time, we should just be listening. So yun po. And lastly, the best practice ni Miss Nina, help your prospect complete any worksheets. If you are doing anything, for example, if you are meeting because of the prospecting triangle, help them complete the prospecting triangle. If you are going to use naman any of the presentations we will be sharing with you today, help them answer the questions and help them complete yung mga numbers if there are numbers that we are going to ask. We should be there for the client, and of course we should also go with the flow with the client. Yan. Some other points to consider. is this. As I mentioned, insurance selling, financial advising is a trust, is built on a trusting relationship between the financial advisor and the client. That's why we need to really connect with the client. Most of the time, people will buy from someone they trust more than someone na is offering a superior product. Hindi na balik kung mas mura ang kabilang company, for example, or yung premium na ino-offer ng ibang advisor. People buy because they trust us, they trust you. So we need to really connect with them, especially for families and our referrals. Sabi nga nila, we take for granted our clients na kapamilya natin, but actually we need to also take care of them more because sila yung pinaka nagtitiwala sa atin. So in the same light, we need to also not just build that trust, but to keep that trust. And in this case, what we will do is an exercise on connecting. And how do we connect with people? How do we connect with clients? First is this. This is an action during the yung pwede pa mag face to face, but when arriving or when meeting them for the first time, remember to give a firm handshake. In this case, it's a warm and delighted smile or delighted greeting sa Facebook. Good morning, of course. Good morning, welcome. Konting chika-chika. Yan. Second is always keep eye contact. This was a lot easier during the non-pandemic times kasi di ba kaharap mo naman yung kliyente. But in this case naman, during the era of Zoom, we still do eye contact. That's why during situations like this na marami tayo, of course, you don't really have to have everyone's video on, especially since in this case, like I'm looking at the presentation, hindi ko talaga kayo makikita. But that's why we also ask you to often turn on your camera so that we will be able to see kung nasa side naman yung mga videos, to see you, so that we will be able to really connect with the audience. But in one-on-ones in Zoom, in our coaching training ng mga leaders, may kasama dun sa training is being comfortable looking at the camera. So for DJ who is used to YouTube, madali na to sa kanya. So I'm still adjusting also. But in this case, one technique, if nung face-to-face you look at the mouth or the space between the brows, in this case, since we're looking at the camera, and maganda kasi that we look at the camera para pag tumingin yung client dun sa video, sa Zoom video, ang makikita nila is tayo nakatingin sa kanila. It will give that impression. It will give that impression. So in this case, I think a key thing is that most laptops naman, most devices, merong ilaw katabi ng camera, so you can focus on that. Otherwise, kung may ring light ka, you can also focus your eyes on the ring light. If not, ang sinabi ko nga suggestion kay DJ before is I'll print a picture of me and i-masking tape ko siya dun sa taas ng camera para parang meron akong point of reference na dun ako titingin kung nasaan yung picture. Yan. So, very important in the era of physical distancing is to keep eye contact. The third is, ayan, I said that this earlier, in replacement to the handshake, flash a genuine smile. Ayan. Kaya din tayo in our meetings, we after prayer and the Starbright mission, vision, and core values, we always share our wins because we want to up our energy so that we will be able to smile genuinely during the Zoom meeting or the virtual call meeting. So always flash a genuine smile. Number 4 is always address the person by name. di ba, gustong-gusto naman natin naririnig yung pangalan natin, di ba? And sabi nga nila, di ba, pag tinawag daw tayo ng nanay natin, kahit na nasa kabilang kanto tayo, dinig na dinig natin because they use our name. At lalong matakot na tayo, di ba, pag buo ng pangalan yung tinatawag sa atin. But in this case, the first name of the person, or just calling them Mr. or Miss, or Sir or Miss, that adds a lot. So at least try using their name more often during the presentation, during KYC. And now, yun yung basics. Now, how do we connect deeper? Number one is we need to be present. So when we are in a Zoom meeting, when we are doing a presentation, we need to keep our attention on the client. Cell phones and other distractions should be kept away. Even in Zoom, sorry po, nagiging kasalanan ko rito minsan, nakakalimutan kong i-silent yung aking phone. But in this case, silence during a Zoom meeting is golden and is precious. Why? Because alam naman natin that there are so many distractions at home. So if the client is distracted, at the very least, tayo dapat, we are right there with them, presenting with full focus and intention. Second is listen intently. Iba, best practice na siya ni Ms. Nina, and we are reminding you here once again. One tip is ask the client if he can take notes. Kasi note-taking helps to remind us to listen and provides us with something to refer to when giving the recommendations. I don't know how sharp your memories are, pero syempre, di ba, baka may makalimutan at makakalimutan din tayo during the course of the conversation. So take notes so that you can also circle back to that kung sakaling na-cover niyo na yun ng kliyente, or if you want to clarify something. Listen intently. Kaya be present and keep distractions away para makapakinig tayo ng mabuti. Third, lalo na ngayong Zoom, remember to nod and maintain eye contact. So look at the camera, and when they're talking, when they're sharing, when they're answering your questions, remember to nod. Kasi yun yung mapapakita natin sa kanila during this time. Nod, or in this case, pwede kayo magsabi na okay, just affirm them that you are listening. Fourth tip to connect deeper is to always ask open-ended questions. What are open-ended questions? These are questions that are connected with this 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So these are questions that makes the client elaborate. Asking yes or no questions kasi, or yung mga could cut the conversation kaagad, and will prevent us from getting to know the client more intimately, kumbaga. Kasi unless ang answer niyang yes is for when we ask now, would you like that to be an annual payment? Mas maganda yon. But in kidding aside, during KYC, knowing your customer, getting to know them, finding out what their needs are, what their wants are, what their goals are, what their pain points are, just remember the 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Just ask them who is this for? What are your goals? When do you intend to retire? Where do you want to retire? Where do you want to send your children to school? Why are you doing this? And how would you like to start? Mga ganun. 5 is be interested. Again, train the spotlight on the client. 80% of the time, focus on them. Being interested is connected with number 4, asking open-ended questions. Yun ang sign ng interest. You are interested if you keep asking questions because you want to know more about them, about what they do, what their goals are. Keep asking questions and be interested. And to be able to connect deeper also, we need to be interesting as well. In the 20% na tayo po yung magsasalita, share about things that you're also passionate about. If the client is sharing about ano bang mga hobbies ngayon, if the client is nagti-TikTok na din, sumasayaw, you can also share about things that you are also passionate about by saying na ako din po nagti-TikTok, or this time, or maybe you can share, ganun po ba? Ako naman po sa YouTube kasi I like watching educational videos. Yun. Be interesting as well. Again, connecting is a conversation. Hindi siya speech. Hindi siya training. You need to be able to also it's a give and take. It's a give and take situation with the client. But hopefully, in the giving on your part, is just of course just take 20% of the time. But also let that client know na ikaw din naman tao, and that hindi lang puro Film Life, hindi lang puro AIA Philippines ang ginagawa natin. So also be interesting. So that will also help build trust. And number 7, give before you receive. Give before you receive. And think of ways to add value to your service. Example, you can connect your clients to people you know with similar interests. So for example, sinabi ni client na mahilig ako actually gumawa ng YouTube videos. You can tell them na talaga po yung agency manager namin also does YouTube. Maybe you would like to subscribe to his channel as well. Or yung mga, di ba, nauso naman na nung pandemic yung magiging plantito, plantita. You can also connect them with similar people with similar interests. So yung mga fellow plantitos, plantitas, even if kayo mismo hindi plantito, plantita, you can already add value and strengthen the relationship with your client by also connecting them with people of similar interests. Kumbaga, this is positive networking. Sinasama niyo na siya sa sphere, sa circle of friends mo, circle of influence mo. And 8 is prepare for starters. Be aware of opportunities to transition your presentation. That's why listening and being interested is important. So, and ito rin kasi yung question minsan. I remember Brian asked this din during approaching. Similar to approaching na of course we say hi, hello, we greet the client. In this case, paano natin ita-transition to the presentation, to selling? Certain opportunities to transition to presentation is if we listen intently, and for example, si client nagsabi na, actually, yung anak ko nga, gusto ko rin mag-aral sa Ateneo pag nag-college siya. That's also already an opportunity to transition to presentation. At tanong niyo lang, ganun po ba? Is that something that you would like to know more about or talk about? Or for example, magsabi na, ang mahal ng bilihin ngayon, hindi ko alam kung paano makaka-cope, lalo na pag magre-retire na. Ganun po ba? Is that something that you would like to talk about? We can talk about planning for your retirement. So, ayun. The key point is sa kanila manggagaling din yung opportunity to talk about a certain presentation, because diba, the best, sabi nga nila, ang isda nahuhuli sa bibig. So allow them to talk, and then we will be able to find out how we can help them through financial planning. And lastly is compliment sincerely. So diba, do you like being affirmed? Do you like being praised? If yes, can you type why? Gusto nyo bang na-affirm kayo? Gusto nyo bang napupuri kayo? Or na-acknowledge yung talents ninyo? Yan, Miss Myra said yes. April also, why? Thank you. And Karina and Kelvin. Di ba? all of us, we feel good when we are complimented, when we are affirmed, when we are praised or acknowledged. That goes the same way for our clients. How we want to be treated. Golden rule na lang. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. So, if you want to be praised, if you want to acknowledge, ganun din po yung mga clients natin. But in this case, let's be sincere with our compliments. Hindi yung mga compliment lang because sinabi sa training kailangan pala i-compliment si client. We need to compliment sincerely. How can we do this? Again, we go back to listening and being interested. For example, si Miss Jean Agra, one of our advisors as well, nagbi-breed siya. Sumasali sila sa breeding competitions ng Chow Chow. May Chow Chow club sila. And she can really talk passionately about that. We are able to compliment sincerely when we are really astounded or amazed by something that they do. Ako personally, that's something that I don't know kasi, or kumbaga I know little of. Alam ko lang ako may mga breeding championships pala. But if they show you pictures, if they show enthusiasm, you can just tell them na wow, that's great. And to be able to be sincere about that, sana tayo din talaga, we feel that that's great. If we are going to compliment just because we want to say something, wag na lang. Kailangan din ramdam natin kasi nararamdaman din po yan nung kliyente. Even through Zoom, even if it's through a phone call, ramdam nila din yan. So compliment sincerely. And you said, yes, you want to be acknowledged, ganun din po yung clients. Okay, so that's our part on connection. Now, what I would like you to do is to practice. Now, why do we start with connecting and knowing your customer, building trust, building rapport? Because again, paulit-ulit ko lang pong sasabihin, our business is a trust business. People will give their money to someone that they trust. Sabi nga nila there are two the top two things na mahirap pag-usapan ay sex and money. The third one daw is government and politics. Pag yan yung pinag-usapan, medyo nagpo-close up ang mga tao. Actually, mas mahirap pa nga daw. Top one na mas mahirap pag-usapan is money. Second lang po ang sex. Imagine that we are in a very conservative country, pero number 2 lang din ang sex. It's still money. And people will tend to open up to people that they trust. So if they trust you, they will be willing to talk about their money and their finances with you. That's why we need to connect first with them. So for our practice, ganito. What we will do is, again, we will put you in breakout rooms, and using what you learned, find out why your partner is a financial advisor, what her passions and motivations are, what her other interests and hobbies are, and how you can add value to him or to her. Again, basically get to know and connect with your partner. So we will do this for another 10 minutes. So we have 5 minutes each. You will assign partner A and partner B. Ang partner A po is yung mas mahaba ang buhok. Ang partner A po ang mas mahaba ang buhok. Pero si partner B po ang magsisimula. So yung mas maikli yung buhok. Partner A is mas mahaba ang buhok, but partner B will start. So yung mas maikli yung buhok. Okay? So yun lang. If you need, sige, ganito na lang muna. Do you need a guide? Do you need a guide for this? If you need a guide, please type Y. Ayan, Brian needs a guide. Sige, ganito. Ayan, even si DJ needs a guide. Alright. Sige. Sino ba? I hope that most of you are here na naka-laptop, but I'll upload the PDF version of this presentation this morning. Ayan, so you will be using this as you can use this as a guide. This time we will talk about KYC presentations. So these next two, so we're going to share with you dalawang models of doing KYC using a presentation. So you can use this as well. You can use this as well when you're doing your one-on-one sa Zoom. And of course, you can use this as well. You can download it to your iPads kung kailangan natin to for face-to-face if you need guides. But of course, if you can, just like approaching, we hope that you will be able to master the presentations in such a way that you will be able to incorporate your own style. Now, baka nagtataka lang kayo or baka ako lang yung nag-a-assume na why are we talking so much about KYC and not much on the actual presentation of financial planning. So ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to share with you na the importance of KYC. Na kahit si Miss Nina Anuver and our top sellers are actually relationship sellers. Sila Miss Eva, sila Miss Jean, and they rely on KYC very much. Then the better that you know, that we know our clients, our customers, the less objections we will be able to encounter, and the better recommendations that we are going to be able to present to them. Na ma-match talaga natin because we know deeply what they want, what they need, and what their goals are. So we can tailor fit kaagad yung presentation natin, yung recommended na plan natin sa kanila. Sorry, let me turn my phone on mute. Bawal nga daw distracted, sorry. Distractions, ayan. Just to share with you, yung experience namin, magdadamay na lang din ako, ng mga who have been here in this business since 2012, 2013, ganyan, nabutan po kasi namin yung wala pang IPOS. And back then, we needed to really go to the office to print out proposals. So, ang presentation po, ang selling phase to the client takes 2 appointments talaga. So, napakalaking blessing po ng IPOS because we can present proposals right there and then. Right there and there. Right there and then to our clients before we spend one whole meeting just on KYC. And then we set a secondary meeting. That's when we present. In our case, we can do both already in one meeting. But the dynamic still does not change. 50 to 60% of the time we are with our clients, maybe even 70% of the time that we are with our clients should be focused on KYC. Para pag nag-present na tayo ng proposal, ng recommendation natin na plano, there will be little to no objections. Gusto niyo bang ma-experience yung kay Karin na ang naging question na lang nung client is, ano nga po palang pangalan ninyo? Ganun nakaka-convince because kilala na ni Karin yung kliyente. And yung recommendation was really tailor-fit to the client. And di ba, yun talaga yung 80-20. Kasi talagang spotlight on the client, hindi na nga nalaman ng client yung pangalan ni Karin. So he had to ask at the end of the presentation. Pero nag-yes na siya nun. Gusto niyo ba yun? If you want that, please type K for Karin. And KYC, ayan si Anthony. Diba? A very thorough and in-depth KYC will result in 0 to little objections once you present the plan. So with that, let's go to our first presentation. The first presentation is the GROW model. So nakakapitalize po yung GROW. So alam na natin na it stands for something. So the objective of this model are these things. Number one, we would like to determine the prospect's goals. So we find out what they want. Second is we find out the prospect's current financial state. So para tong diagnosis ng doctor. Alamin natin kung ano yung gusto niya, and then we will diagnose kung kumusta ba yung estado niya ngayon in terms of his finances. Third is to present options and manage objections of the prospect. Yeah, to present options and manage objections of the prospect. Okay, so let's start with what GROW stands for. So G stands for the goals of the prospect. R stands for the resources and the reality nung prospect or nung client natin. O, naputol. O are the options that we can present. Oops. Okay, wait lang. Dali lang. Let me fix my slide first. Natakpan siya nung picture. Yeah, so while I am fixing this, if you have questions, you can ask them now. Or meron po ba kayong gustong i-clarify with your own experiences with your clients? So G is for goals. R is for the clients or the prospect's resources and the reality of his state. O are the options available to him, and W are questions of who, what, why, and when. So let's go through it one by one. The first is the goals. So when meeting with the client, so after nyo mag-connect, no, and you are able to transition na to the presentation, or if you want to use this, pwede nyo sabihin na, I would like to get to know you more and how I can help you. Are you open to discussing that already? You can guide them through this presentation. I would like to know about your goals, what your realities are, what options we might have, and what and other questions that may matter to us. We would like to know the what's, the when, and the where's, and the why's of the things about your finances. Is this okay? So once you transition, pwede nyo silang gabayan dito. First, Mr. Client or Mr. Prospect, let's explore your goals. So some questions that you could ask the client are the following. So basically, what do you want to achieve? Sir Client, ang dami sa kinuwento nyo kanina, ano po ba doon talaga yung gusto nyo ma-achieve? And second is, what is your point B or your destination? Saan nyo po ba gustong pumunta? If this is what you want to achieve, where do you want to go? And three is, why do you want to achieve this? We ask why para klaro din sa kanila how important it is to achieve whatever they said that they would like to achieve. Their financial goals, maybe it's for retirement, maybe it's for education, maybe it's for health, or maybe it's for life insurance, mortgage redemption, etc. We need to allow the client to be clear kung bakit niya to gusto. Because if they are clear with what they want and why they want it, we can take note of these things para if they object on certain items like price, length of payment, pwede niyong ibalik na, di ba po kasi sabi ninyo importante ito sa inyo because, or sabi niyo po you want to achieve this, or this is the destination that you would like to go to. So for goals, these are some of the questions that you would like, that you could ask. What do you want? What is your point B or your destination? And why do you want to achieve this? But basically for goals, pwede niyong diretso na ano po ba ang goal ninyo? Ano po bang gusto ninyo? And so after that, you lead them to R, which is their resources or their reality. So this can be actually a short presentation lang, lalo na kung if you've established good rapport with the client already, mabilis na lang din silang sasagot. So the questions that you could ask, one is, what have you accumulated so far? Meron na po ba kayong emergency fund? Meron na ba kayong fixed assets, bonds? Meron po ba kayong liquid assets, yung kayang-kaya nyong i-tap just in case of an emergency? Do you have other investments? In this case, medyo nagkabaliktad lang, no? Point B yung tinanong kanina. This time, you're basically asking them, what is your point A? Saan po ba tayo nanggagaling? Where are we starting so that we are able to get to our destination? You could also ask, do you have any debts or loans? And if so, how much? Meron po ba tayong pinagkakautangan? Meron po ba tayong mga liabilities? So if the first question is, ano po bang assets natin? Next is, meron po ba tayong liabilities? Meron ba tayong personal loan? Meron yung bahay niyo po ba ay naka housing loan? Yung kotse niyo po ba ay magkano yung binabayaran natin monthly? Yan. And how much do you need to get by in a month? So, siguro share na lang din namin yung mga ibang worksheets na available. But basically, yung R is yung kanilang SAL-N. Kumbaga, their statements of assets and liabilities. Their net worth. So for their resources and their reality, alamin lang natin ano ba ang meron sila right now. Ano ba ang meron sila right now? And do you have debts or loan? And do you have anything accumulated, saved up so far? Do you have debts and loans, and how much kung meron? But more importantly, kung ayaw talaga nilang, di ba sabi ko kanina, money is actually one of the hardest things to talk about with anyone. Tayo nga, di ba, meron tayong culture na hindi tayo nagsasabihan ng sweldo. Dito lang naman sa Starbright, uso magpakita kung magkanong FYC ang kinikita ng bawat isa. But for the corporate world, di ba, bawal magsabihan ng sweldo. Some companies meron talagang nasa contract na bawal sabihin, bawal i-share sa iba yung sweldo mo. Minsan kasi hindi nga pare-pareho. But kaya in this case, if they don't want to be detailed dun sa kanilang sinishare or nahihiya sila, di ba minsan nakakaya naman talaga yung utang. You can ask yung third question, how much do you need to get by in a month? Para at least may idea tayo ng kanilang float level. Kung ano yung kanilang, at the very least, komportable naman sila mababayaran lahat ng bills. So that pwede natin i-compute kung magkano yung kaya nilang itabi din, or kaya at saka kailangang itabi. Now, of course, if you've done very good KYC, madali na lang din tanungin yung details. If there is kumbaga may konting resistance with sharing to you about these things, you can just tell them that this is going to be confidential. This is going to be kept between the two of us. Don't worry, hindi po ito makikita ng iba. Hindi po ito malalaman ng iba. And assure them that you just need to ask these questions para mas matulungan mo sila. Ayan. So, if hindi pa buong-buo yung trust sa atin, we can share that with them. Tell them that it's going to be between you and him or her. Next, other questions for resources in reality. Ayan. How do you earn? Ano po ang active and passive income sources ninyo? Meron po ba kayong, are you employed? Do you have a business? Kayo po ba ay trader ng crypto? Ganyan. Do you have savings and or an emergency fund? Also covered in the first question. Meron po ba kayong savings? Meron po ba kayong emergency fund? And ask them, this is so that we can establish a pain point or kumbaga ma-establish yung gap. Because from their goal na ito yung gusto kong ma-achieve, tanungin nyo, ito pala yung reality natin, ito pala yung available resources. Mr. Client, Mr. Prospect, how do you feel about your point A? How do you feel about your current reality? If they say they're happy, baka there's not much financial planning we need to do. But more often than not, they will say that they want to achieve something greater or they're not satisfied with where they are right now. And that's why they are meeting with us nga, because there is something that they want to achieve and we are there to help. So just ask them, how do you feel, Mr. Client, about your point A or how your resources or your reality looks right now? Okay? So now that we have established a pain point or kumbaga a challenge for them or the gap, we present to them and explore with them. Kasama po sila, collaborative naman po ang financial planning, their options. So what questions can you ask? Yan. Currently, what are the options you are considering to achieve your goals? Ano po bang naiisip ninyong gawin para po makuha ninyo yung goals ninyo? Yung sinasabi ninyong retirement, yung sinasabi ninyong education, yung sinasabi ninyong health fund, ano na pong ginagawa ninyo to achieve those goals? And if I could provide you with a viable option, are you open to doing something about it today? So dito na rin natin i-enter yung transition to an actual presentation. So once we know what they want, what they are capable of, we can then offer our recommendation. So if they're looking for education, dito na yung i-entra or dito na natin i-introduce yung pag-present sa kanila ng Future Scholar or ng AIA Future Builder for education. If it's for retirement, ganun din. We can dito na yung entry point ng pag-transition to Future Builder to Future Protect and other retirement plans. Family provider din. Yan. So this is basically asking them kung ano nang ginagawa nila. Most probably, they are meeting with you and malamang, sa akin nasabi na to. Nung tinanong ko sa kanila, ano bang ginagawa mo to achieve your goals? What are the options na naiisip mo na? Sabi sa akin, kaya nga kita kausap rin. And so, di ba, at least that will also establish that they need and want your help. So, ito also, we just gather their agreement. If I could provide you with a viable option, are you open to doing something about it today? Next, and the last in the model is the W, or the who, what, where, why, and when. So, what you could ask, ito mga panglaman na din sa inyong application form. Who will benefit from this plan, from the achievement of this goal? So, yung ibang paraan ng pagtanong nito is, para kanino ka ba gumigising? So, para kanino ba to? Bakit mo to ginagawa? Second is, what changes are you willing to undergo to achieve this goal? Para malaman na po natin kung sila ba ay willing na magtabi ng pera or hindi. Willing ba sila mag-adjust ng budget if their goals are big and it requires change in their lifestyle? Malaman na natin from there. And pag sinabi nila na wala silang willing, edi that's actually an objection. Ibig sabihin, they might not be ready. We need to dig a little deeper. And third is, what do you think could prevent you from achieving what you want? So we ask kung ano yung kanilang derailers. Anong makakapag-stop sa inyo sa pagkumpleto ng plano na to, ng recommendations, para ma-achieve ninyo yung gusto ninyo. And four, again, paalala nyo na lang, why is this important to you? Bakit mahalagang ma-achieve ninyo yung sinasabi ninyong goal ninyo? And lastly, when do you start? And hopefully, ang answer sa number 5 is, let's start now. If you want, you can extend this question, when do you start? It's best to start now, but when are you comfortable to start? Yan. So that's the first model, that's the grow model. Again, it's G for goals. Determine their goals with them. Samahan niyo po siya. That's part of KYC, getting to know them and their wants and needs. The R is for their resources, available resources, and their current reality. Alamin niyo rin po kung nasan sila. What is their point A? The O are the options, and this is where you will also start to recommend certain products or certain plans na meron tayo. And the W are additional questions that will determine then the depth of their commitment to this plan and to the change that they will undergo. Another question you can ask din pala sa W part is, what support do you need from me? And who will be able to help you to achieve this plan? So yung who, pwede yun, para naman, that's part of our referral. Kung may makakatulong pa sa kanilang iba, ibig sabihin they are in a better financial situation. So again, can you type in the chat box what grow means? Una, klaro ba? Is it clear? If it's clear, please, if it's clear to you what grow means and what it's for, please type grow in the chat box. Yan, klaro naman, klaro. Okay, thank you at all caps. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so I hope it's a tool that you can use for your KYC. So if you would notice, again, this is a KYC presentation. Wala pa pong produkto, just questions. Just getting to know the needs and the wants of the customer. So if everything's clear, can I get a thumbs up sign if it's okay to move to the next KYC presentation? Thumbs up, meron ba? Hindi ko makita. Ayan, si Julius, nakita ko na. Thank you, Julius. Ayan, si April, thank you. Okay, so the next KYC presentation is the financial ladder. So medyo mas specific to because this will determine the resources talaga of the client. In this case, the financial aspect of his reality. So kung kanina medyo may pagka-general pa, ito talaga hihimayin kung ano na yung meron siya. So the objectives of the financial ladder are the following. Number 1 is to determine the prospect's financial status and resources. And of course, to determine the prospect's goals, if meron pa. And the third is to find out any gaps or needs the prospect may have that we can offer solutions to. So both presentations are are presentations that we can fill up gaps or yung mga lacking pa sa plano ng kliyente. So the financial ladder follows, of course, a ladder presentation kasi paakyat siya ng paakyat. So the steps, there are 5 steps in the financial ladder, 5 things that we need to ask or get clarity on. The first step is this. We find out their income source. Paano ba sila kumikita? paano ba sila kumikita. Second step is, do they have savings and an emergency fund? Do they have savings and an emergency fund? Third, meron ba silang independence fund? So later on, I will explain kung what is an independence fund. Four, do they have existing investments? So similar to the R of the GROW model, do they have existing investments? And five, what are their, upon achieving all of these four, meron pa po ba silang goal? Is there something still that you want to achieve? What goal do you want to achieve, considering you already have all of these four steps covered? Okay, let's go through the steps one by one. Step one is income source. So what questions can you ask? You can ask them this. So Mr. Client, kung hindi pa natin nagawa during the connection talk, you can ask them, where do you work or how do you earn? Saan po nanggagaling yung income ninyo na pangtustos sa pangailangan ninyo? Where do you work? How do you earn? What's your occupation? Of course, that's a question din naman na i-fill out natin sa IPOS. Second is, how long have you been working there? This question is important para malaman natin their security, their stability dun sa kanilang income source. And third is, how much are you earning? If you are comfortable to ask. If you're not comfortable or nasa-sense niyo na hindi pa komportable yung kliyente so much, just establish that this is confidential and that you will need the answer to prepare a proper financial plan. And four, who relies on your income, or do you have any dependents? This question is para malaman din natin kung sino ba yung magiging beneficiaries niya, if ever. And who relies on your income? Para malaman natin then kung yung kanyang commitment to staying where he works. Because if someone relies on him or her, syempre, they will do all that they can to maintain that income source. Para malaman natin that hindi siya mawawalan trabaho anytime soon and that steady po yung magiging income niya. This is also important to us para yun, alam natin that they will be able to keep paying their premiums at hindi maglalapse yung kanilang policy. Next is step 2. So if you've established kung saan sila nagtatrabaho, next is to determine if they have savings and an emergency fund. So some questions to ask: do you have an emergency fund good for 3 to 6 months worth of your income saved? How much are you able to save from what you earn? And are you happy with your savings? Or do you have debts? Yan, ladies and gentlemen, please affirm them if they have a good savings portfolio and motivate them if magsisimula pa lang silang mag-save, lalo na for mga bagong pasok sa trabaho, yung mga millennials, yung mga Zoomers. Yan, natutunan ko yun kay Dayan, yung mga Zoomers daw. Yung pasimula pa lang with their professions, motivate them if they are just starting. So why is this important? If they do not have an emergency fund, our task as financial advisors is to help them with that first, to ensure na meron silang paghuhugutan just in case they stop working for 3 to 6 months. In this case, kung magka-pandemya man, meron pa rin silang mapagkukuhanan para hindi naman sila mawawalan ng pagkain or ilaw or tubig. Yan. How much are you able to save from what you earn? Ayan, this is important so that we will be able to ascertain din kung magkano ba yung kaya nilang ibayad na premium or ipang start ng policy. Third is, are you happy with your savings and do you have debts? Ayan, just like the resources part of GROW, we need to determine if they have any liabilities, because para mapunan naman natin yon, and it will be incorporated in the recommendation that we will be preparing for them. And of course, if they are happy with their savings, then great. Ibig sabihin, they are going to be open to doing something more. And if they have debts and no emergency fund, we can actually stop on step 2 and focus on this, helping them build this up. So doon na po dadating talaga yung mission before the commission, and yung ating dedication to help Filipinos in their financial goals by helping them start saving and helping them to create an emergency fund. Ang alam ko, si Ms. Myra was just sharing this earlier na inaalam niya talaga yung status ng kliyente. Pag wala pang emergency fund, doon nagpo-focus. So I hope that we also do that for our clients. So, paano naman, Red, kung meron naman silang lahat nito, may savings sila in emergency fund, then we go to the third step. And the third step is their independence fund. So, ladies and gentlemen, ang independence fund po, these are existing plans and programs in place that will sustain their needs should they be unable to work. So, in a way, this is passive income. This is passive income. These are their investments. Yan. So, questions that we can ask. Sir, ma'am, what have you done to protect yourself and your family? Yan. Have them list their existing investments and insurances. Kumbaga, ano na po bang nasimulan ninyo? What do you have in place just in case an emergency happens? Yan. Second, what benefits do you enjoy from work? So may asterisk, I'll present what they could answer there. And third, we always ask them, are you happy with your independence fund? Why or why not? The third question, yung pag-check ng kanilang buying temperature, that's always a third question. Is happy na ba kayo? Because if they're unhappy, big sabihin they would like to have more. If they are happy, if not investment, they would want to maintain that happiness. And to maintain that happiness, that's where insuring or income protection comes in din naman. So, in the independence fund, if our client is an employee, what we could ask them is, ano po ba yung meron kayo sa office na benefits? So, meron silang company HMO, of course, they're paying their SSS. If they're in the government service, meron silang GSIS. Baka may group insurance, of course, may PhilHealth. Some companies, kung hindi HMO, meron silang health insurance, yung kumbaga, meron kang 500,000, just in case you get sick, magbibigay si company ng certain amount. Or pwede na naka-group insurance sila with their health insurance. So, we determine this para we also find out if there are gaps. If they have HMOs, maybe we can focus more on investment if they have all of these benefits. If wala silang HMO, we can offer them AIA Med Assist or health cover with medical benefit. Yan. So para din malaman natin if there are gaps, now we can fill out in each step. The fourth step is investments. So aside from their fallback, yung mga securities, yung mga security buckets nila and their benefits, maybe if they are well covered in their work, if they have an emergency fund, if they have adequate savings, next is meron po ba kayong investments? So what investments have you started? Meron po ba kayong real property? Nagpaparent ba kayo? Meron ba kayong apartment or condo that you rent out? Are you investing in stocks? Nag-iitoro po ba kayo? Meron po ba kayong mutual funds, UITFs in banks? Or do you own businesses? Yan. So again, these are also opportunities to get to know how you could address certain needs. Kasi syempre, with all of these things, meron din silang lumalabas. If they have businesses, you can also offer retirement funding for their employees, for example. If they have mutual funds, UITFs, maybe you can focus more on the protection trinity. If they have rental property and real property, You could explore MRI or mortgage redemption insurance. Or if you have friends in non-life, or if you are also you also want to have a non-life license, maybe you can offer them fire insurance. So diba, it also gives you opportunities to do business with them. Second is ask this question to them, what are the objectives for each investment? Para alam ninyo kung para saan. And para din maalala nila kung para saan nga ba. Kasi it's rarely naman sabihin ng mga clients natin, wala lang, gusto ko lang ng more money. When we dig deeper, that more money is intended for something. They want rental property because they have rental property and businesses because they want to retire early. Maybe ayun, we can find that out from them. By finding out the objectives for each investment, ayan, we find out yet again kung may gap pa ba, or we can also find out kung ano yung pwede natin i-focus. Kung biglang lahat sabi, hindi, gusto ko si Red, mag-retire ako ng maaga at mag-enjoy na lang ako ng aking retirement life. So we would find out that that's something na pain point, or kumbaga, it's something that they want to retire comfortably. And of course, again, determine their buying temperature by asking, are you happy with your investments? If yes, maybe you would like to add more. If no, of course, maybe you would like to add more. And that's exactly why we are there. And the last step, step 5, is ask them about their goals. So some questions to ask. Ayan, knowing what you already have from steps 1 to 4. Meron pa po ba kayong gustong ma-achieve? What else would you like to achieve? Meron na po kayong secure income source, may savings and emergency fund. Okay naman po ang inyong independence fund. You have insurances, you have good benefits at work. You have investments, may real property po kayo, nag-i-invest kayo, may crypto kayo. Knowing that you already have all of these things, is there anything else you would like to achieve? And if so, what would this be? And everyone will still have an answer to this. I haven't met anyone yet na tumigil na yung goals nila, or hindi na sila nananaginip. So second is, what have you done towards achieving your goals? Again, this is asking lang din kung ano na yun, excluding everything that they have said, are they already moving towards their goals? May dinadagdag na ba sila? One. And then, if you want to transition to the actual presentation, you can tell them this. If you're interested, here's how I can help you with your gaps from steps 1 to 4 and your goals. If you're interested, here's how I can help you with your gaps from steps 1 to 4 and your goals. Would you like to proceed to my recommendations? And then, if they say yes, we can already proceed to the actual presentation. Yan. During this one, this financial ladder, you can take notes, of course. This was taken from a Excel file kasi nagno-note ako sa Excel. John, of course, not his real name, 30 years old, professional. Yan naman ang ating laging perennial na sample. Si John is a 30-year-old professional. So, ano ba yung itsura nung financial ladder if we were taking notes or highlighting what they already have? So, step 1, their income source. Si John has been working 8 years as an IT professional for Accenture. He earns 80,000 a month. He has 2 dependents, a wife and 1 2-year-old daughter. So we already know that he is viable for income protection because of what we found out in step 1. Step 2, sabi niya, from the 80,000, I can save 10,000 a month. and I already have 3 months worth of an emergency fund. So we already know, because of KYC, we already know from the client, sa kanya na mismo siya na mismo nagsabi, kaya ko magtabi ng 10,000 every month. So we can adjust their premiums based on what they said. Step 3, their independence fund. So sabi ni John, meron siyang MaxiCare from his company. Meron siyang PhilHealth, of course, dahil mandated yon. Meron na siyang life insurance with Philam Life. So this is good because he's a believer and he believes in our own company. And of course, he pays his SSS. And may SSS siya from the company. So at least clear sa atin na meron na siyang nasimulan. So we can add to this. Step 4, yung kanyang investment. Sabi niya meron siyang stock sa Viacol Financial. So meron din siyang Potato Corner franchise. Nakapag-set up na siya ng Potato Corner franchise. And meron siyang condo unit for rent. So in this case, we know that he is already open to investing. So mas madali na natin siyang marerekomendahan. Second is this also opens us to new opportunities. Kung meron siyang Potato Corner franchise, for example, meron siyang staff dyan. We can consider also offering to cover his staff. If he has condo unit for rent, we can ask about kung meron na siyang MRI for that condo, and kung gusto niya bang mag-renew na lang ng MRI sa atin kung meron mang existing. Step 5 is ano pa ba yung kanyang goals? Gusto niya ng bagong bahay. Sabi niya, gusto ko sundan yung daughter ko. Wants another baby with his wife. And of course, he wants to retire comfortably and gusto niyang bumili ng bagong kotse. So, because we know of all of these things, marami pa tayong entry points on financial planning and helping him with his financial goals. How will he be able to save for his new house? How will he prepare for his new baby? If he intends to do all of these things, and if he is the sole breadwinner, pwede tayong mag-offer ng higher insurance coverage so that may mag-continue lang yung kanyang income just in case nandiyan na yung bagong baby, may babayaran siyang bagong bahay. If he wants to retire comfortably, how much does he need to save? Ito lahat yung pwede nating entry points on what we can recommend to John. Okay. So sige. So it's 11:10. Is everything clear so far? If clear naman, walang questions, please type C on the chat box. And if you have questions, of course, just ask away dun sa chat box or you can unmute. Okay, it's clear for Brian, CJ, Kelvin, Anthony, all right? Okay, clear so far? Okay, so if it's clear, so what we will do next is again, practice. So we will go back to your breakout rooms with the same partners. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, after this session, magiging best friends na kayo ng kapartner ninyo sa breakout room. What we will do for our practice is just choose a presentation. Would you like to use the grow model or the ladder model? After choosing a presentation that you would want to use that presentation to conduct a financial health check of your partner. And choose once, if you want to do a grow model, conduct the grow model with your partner, on your partner. If you choose the ladder model, ganun din. Use the ladder model, the financial ladder model, to find out, to know your partner better. Ayan. So we'll have another 10 minutes for this, 5 minutes each. So again, this is real play. What do you mean by real play? Yung sagot po sana ninyo totoo. So in a way, na-practice na po natin yung KYC, and ang magiging benefit pa nito sa inyong mag-partner is that you can also magkakaroon din tayo ng reality check kung nasan ba tayo, and tayo din, ma-refresh tayo kung what our goals are, kung bakit nga ba tayo nasa Philam, and
and bakit tayo nagtatrabaho.